Ladies and gentlemen,
it's time to embrace a youthful mindset and envision your future. Take the lead is in your walls.
Take the lead is in your walls.
This platform serves as a space for engagement designed to equip young people to become effective leaders. They are actively contributing, creatively engaged, and determined in various fields. And now, this is Take the Lead.
Hello and lovely day to you, young leaders across West Africa and beyond. It's another Friday. Welcome to your youth engaging program, Take the Lead on West Africa Democracy Radio. My name is Augustine Cully and I am delighted to have you joining us. Today's edition is in alignment with last week's discussion. However, our concentration is on African youth and technology with an engaging question. Are African youth consuming more digital content than creating it? And that's for you to tell us. We are live on 94.9 FM in Dakar, streaming worldwide on WADR.org. And you can also watch us on YouTube and Facebook at WADR English. Our guests today are young and vibrant professionals. One is Sadio Njai. Sadio is a social media manager at Takonga Services, a travel agency right here in Senegal. It's a privilege to have Sadio with us. How are you doing? And welcome to the platform.
Thank you, Augustine, and I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
I think it's the first time speaking with you on this platform, and we are in a new year, just the second month. How are you doing in the new year?
I am doing great. I'm doing fine, alhamdulillah. Making my my perspective online, trying to align with my dreams. So everything is fine.
Your plans for the year?
Exactly.
Is it going well?
Yeah, it's going well so far. So good. Yeah, I am motivated.
I like that. We have Massa Bakari, and Bakari has been here. She's our communications specialist from Sierra Leone, based in Dakar, Senegal. How are you doing, Massa? And welcome once again.
Hi, thank you, Augustine, for having me. And hi, everyone.
How is it going?
It's going well. I've been a bit sick for the last couple of days, but I'm happy to be back and just trying to get my energy and flow.
Although you are smiling, the face doesn't look like one who was, down a few days ago.
Well, my face always looks good, so that's it.
That's great. There was a crossover from 2025 to 2026. Was there anything positive or negative you want to remember?
Well, I'll say 2025 was such a good year, but it also had its challenges. And I'm just happy that we are in a new year. And new things are always good because they bring a lot of different things. So I'm looking to what's different and just building on what I had already started in the previous year. Yeah.
Great. We plead with you to keep smiling and don't get ill again. We also have Atinuk Adieson, and Atinuk is a growth and development officer at Shades of Us, Nigeria. She's joining us from Nigeria. How are you doing, Atinuk? Welcome to the platform.
Hi, I'm doing very well, thank you. How are you doing?
I'm okay. How is Naja?
Niger is very well. Niger is Niger. Thank God.
Great.
How is Senegal? How is it over there?
Well, I'm here and we are here. It's good to speak with you. Gradually, things are going fine. So we are delighted to have you joining us. And later, during the program, our expert guest, Caesar Morris, a tech entrepreneur and CEO of A Cafe in Monrovia, will join us with his analysis. Plus you, our amazing followers and dedicated listeners, you are special to us. Please keep following and we anticipate your opinion on the show. Just leave it in the live feed. Tell us what do you think about digital content. Are the young people consuming more than creating those contents and other digital tools across Africa? Now, let's quiz ourselves on the topic. What do you, in fact, make of this topic? Is it something important to talk about? Beginning with you, Sadio.
As a content creator and marketing manager, I work closely with digital platforms, and as I see a lot of young people, young African people interact with the digital content, so we consume a lot.
Okay.
We scroll, we watch, and we interact with a lot of content online on different platforms.
So can I hold you to your word that African youths consume more contents than they create?
Exactly, but also that does not mean their lack of creativity, because creativity is everywhere. But it just like just in my opinion, so that there is a lot of consumer than creators.
Well, let me hold the follow-up question, but I will come back to you. Let's hear from Masa. What do you think about this?
I think it's an interesting topic. Someone that is chronically online, I for sure will say I have been a consumer, but also that there's a very thin line between us being consumers and us being producers, because for one to produce, you need to consume as well. And sometimes you consume more in order to produce one thing. So in a way, everybody that is on social media, digitally, do consume more than they produce. So it's not just we as West Africans or young Africans. So that's basically how the system works. But then I think a very important topic also is whose production gets to be amplified as well as paid more, and then that become interesting for us as young West Africans. And I feel like in this topic that would be so interesting for us to talk about as well.
So you align with Sergio?
100%, yes.
Well, what's about you, Atinu? What do you think? Let's hear from you.
I'm afraid I would have to align with the other speakers. Yes, young Africans are more consumers of digital content than creators. But however, definitely it's not because of a lack of creativity. I would say it's a lack of infrastructure, cultural backing, and generally a lack of, the way I see it, is a lack of niches for where you could create what you could create and be a successful creator in Africa. So yes, I would say we definitely consume more than we create.
Now, you've just brought me into the follow-up questions about the factors that are driving the rapid consumption of digital content than the creation. Since you've said a bit of it, let's hear from the others. What are the factors for you saying that we are consuming more than creating?
In my opinion, what I can say is sometimes they fear. So they worry about I say the views, the interaction, the likes. So if they have that break, so that can hold them back. Also, any other factor that I see is like we used to consume content which is not reflect our realities, and then that also can be a break. So if we are to product something that reflect African realities, I think that will help more.
Okay, well, that's a nice one from Sergio. There are some things we project, and they are not the reality of us as Africans. Let's close this chapter with you, Bukari. What are your factors responsible for stating more consumption than creation?
I'll say when the internet came to us, like in the way the social media came, a lot of us were not really given the opportunity to express ourselves in those ways. For a lot of us, our parents, larger community made, I don't know whether this is just back in my country or it was everywhere in West Africa, but for where I come from, they made the internet as such a scary place, and even if your face is there, your voice is there, it could always come back to you. So that kind of fear has made it very difficult for a lot of people to come online. So like she was saying, cultural. And then the other thing is the economy as well. How many people can access the kind of smartphone that maybe will give you the kind of quality of videos, or ensure that your videos are aligned, yeah, because the algorithm pays sometimes the quality of what you're producing.
The
So
content.
yeah, the content. So you can be like, you can just post anything and then it becomes how would you say, viral. So it takes a lot of content, high quality content for you to be, and some people don't really have that financial cost or that financial price to pay. And then we also see how valued our content are. I think for YouTube, it's only 3 countries that can monetize their content. I think Ghana and Nigeria also in the sub-region that can actually content. So imagine you pay for all these mics. At the end of the day, you get 1 million view, but YouTube doesn't pay you. You don't see it as a career option. So you rather just consume what's been on there than actually take time to. And in fact, what we see is that a lot of Africans that are content creators are people that are based in the West, and like the US, in Europe, where when they make whatever content, they can actually get money than people that stay in the sub-region. So I feel like the economies, whether how much you're paying, how much you get paid, the culture from when we were young, and for me, those are like the bigger ones.
And that brings me to a follow-up question. Now that the debate is shifting towards more consumption of digital content, I would love to ask this question, and perhaps maybe Atinu can come in. Are we consuming more technological content than we understand their implication? Is it because they are just available, so we go for them? Or do we understand their implications? Let's hear from you, Atino.
Okay, I would say we are consuming more because that is the easier option open to us when it comes to making and consuming. It is easier for most Africans to just get just a working Android phone. It doesn't have to be the best thing out there. To be able to afford data, it's very easy for most young Africans to get that. But however, to create content, you would need, so for creating content, there's this thing I have noticed. It has to be, your background, your environment has to be aesthetically pleasing for you to be able to create content. You also need stable electricity. You also need a good stable internet connection, most of which is very limited. It's like limited to access in most African countries. So it is more expensive for you to think, okay, I don't have what people would say is an aesthetically pleasing house or background, so I would have to go to a studio. The internet in where I live is not very strong, so I have to shift. I have to go somewhere where I could access that. The electricity too is not as stable, so I would have to pay to get one that is stable and strong. So it's cheaper for you to just consume. And we do not get the implication because of how easy it is to access the internet these days and to just watch content and scroll. And I would say it also matters that the kind of content that we are consuming in Africa, I would say it's not the best, it's not the highest of the highest content we could be taking. For example, in Nigeria, I would say most of the successful content creators, content that is being pushed by the algorithm, they are skits, funny content, things to make you laugh, things to make you happy, things to make you good, which they are fine and all right. But content that talks about maybe the history of the country, the politics, what's happening, they are not being pushed as much as the funny skits. So we really do not understand the implications, because the more you see things, that is what you think is that the more things you see, like the more frequency you see, like maybe the funny skit, you think, okay, this is what the world is talking about. Your world becomes small, and then you are not pushed to find out more. But let's say you watch a video that talks about the history of your country and you're like, oh, I didn't know about this, and then you want to go and check. So that would be digital content doing the best it can do, but then we are just consuming, and it's the easiest way to interact with the internet, and we really do not understand the implications of it.
Well, great. Now, Africa, this one will say, has a fertile land, fertile soil. But do we have the infrastructure, the digital infrastructure? Do we have the space to produce more digital content in our region? For you, Sergio.
I think Africa is rich, and we have our own stories, and the young people here have strong stories. And I think, like in my opinion, also Africa is fertile to create our own content and then to spread it, because as I read somewhere, if you don't maybe I am wrong, if you don't show your originality, or if you don't show your culture, someone else will come, and then someone else will show it to them. Maybe I am wrong on that matter, but
To teach you your own culture.
so I think yes.
But then another aspect is, are we prioritizing our local content? Are we showing what we have as a culture, what we have as a tradition, our norms, our values? Are we putting that on the social media? Are we considering that as the digital content? Or is just basically about flashy lifestyle, doing some selfies and other stuff?
No, and I blame the algorithm. I blame the algorithm, because it's tended to push viral content and viral and trendy content. So our young people, the young African, instead of creating something that reflects our realities, so they repeat just to follow the trend the trend they copy elsewhere, and that's the things that they copy does not reflect, as I say, I am saying it again, what our own reality. And I think, like, we have, Africa is rich with stories. We all have our own stories, and young people can share their knowledge, their idea, and that can work.
What about you, Masa? In terms of the infrastructure, in terms of the priorities we gave the content?
Yes, I would just quickly like to go back to something Inuit had said earlier.
Atinun.
Atenyo, about comedies instead of oral history. I feel like comedy skits are a good source of entertainment, edutainment. Like, they also bring an educational aspect to it. Like, they don't just function as laughter. For example, one of my best content creator, what's his name? Brain Jota. So he makes things that anybody outside would think that these are just jokes. His beat music, dance in his grid t-shirt. But some of his messages are very heavy, and they kind of contribute to our realities in a way that are very unique. So, for example, one of his last skits was about giving money in church. So he made a skit about, like, this lady and her husband arguing about they had a sick child, and the man was like, oh, I need to go give this money as tithe. And he came just as his usual skit, beating drums, dancing. Like, for a lot of people, religion and giving money to church, even when it's impacting your life in a negative way, right, have been held as gospel truth. And for a comedian to come to that way and show it up in that way, it creates something new and address some of our issues. So I necessarily don't think that skit or entertainment in those ways have a negative, because there are also a lot of what would I say, a lot of entertainers and content creators that are very niche, that take different topics in African ways. Some of them have Eurocentricized. For me, I don't get an algorithm that says go to this beach or go to that, because I'm very political online. So mostly I see content creators that talk about politics, whether in African content, mythology. So the internet rewards you what you like. So if, for example, somebody's on the beach at Maldives and you're like, oh, that is cool, let me stay on there. The next video you're going to see is somebody at Bali. The next one you're going to see is at Seychelles. So the internet gives you what you like, basically. That's because it wants your attention, so it keeps feeding you what you like.
Okay.
Yeah, and for the infrastructure, I think you already said it all. We have less than 50% of our population in West Africa that have access to 4G internet. So imagine you have to upload something online, the hours it takes. Sometimes you feel just frustrated. So there's not so much infrastructures that we have in terms of internet, electricity, when you leave the major cities and the capital of each country. So for example, in Senegal here, Dakar can be fine, but if you go to Kaolack or you go to a village that's very close to Cap Skirring and you're even trying to call somebody, right? It's very impossible to do, as compared to then you decide to say, oh, let me go live on Facebook. So the infrastructure is not meeting up to the demands that are there, even for people that are web developers. I have two of my friends that's one of their talking points always, that there's a particular kind of web designing, that web developing, like coding, that they need to do, that they have to wait maybe sometimes at 2 a.m.
Okay.
in the morning to
Internet
get it done, yeah.
connectivity is a problem. Well, I see Teresa Wema Lisa from the live saying that is true, Massa. All right, she's following. Well, Teresa, you can tell us more. Why do you think is true? And we will certainly read that out here on the program, including Jikins, Rockdale, Fenty, Aliyuba, all of you following. Thank you for joining. Share your thoughts with us. Let's know, what do you think about consumption and creation of digital content? Let's hear from you, Atinon. The availability of YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, do they create room for one to learn how to create content? Or they holistically just provide what, like Massa said, what we are interested in? Is that a space that one can also get through YouTube, get through TikTok, and know how to create content, or even to some extent know how to create a sub branch of TikTok that is, creating apps and other things, rather than just being focused holistically on just watching them and enjoying them? What do you think about that, Atiku?
So I think, yes, Massa was correct. The algorithm is built to keep feeding you what you like. So it definitely has created, would I say, call them chamber pots of people, where they don't go beyond what they are used to. They would never, once you've liked maybe 5 videos that are the same thing, it's really hard for you to go beyond till maybe someone sends you something from their own algorithm and you like that, and then you can move on from there. So I would say, just like Africa as a whole, when it comes to the global economy, for the longest time, we have been designated a consumer market. Thankfully, it's changing now. We have fintech companies that are doing wonderfully. We have creators too that have hit the global market. Thankfully, it's changing. We have manufacturers. But yes, so because we are largely consumers, and then most of what we see, most of our interests, most of what is out there for us is, especially when it comes to internet trends, and creations, it's trickled down from the West, that's from the global North, down to us. That is changing, like I mentioned, but it's still largely like that. So, of course, most people, especially anyone who is interested in monetizing their digital content, would first go for those big names, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, because it's easier. Even with that, we have people saying, oh, if you want to make money, especially with YouTube, they'll be like, oh, make sure you open an account. It's a US based YouTube account. It's a UK based YouTube account, because that's the best way for you to monetize your content. That is not being pushed to us. We are still just consuming. And I think I read somewhere where more than half of African creators using Nigerian naira earn less than 100,000 naira per day per month. I don't know how much. That is in Senegalese money, but that is incredibly low for the amount of time and resources that goes into creation. So yes, it's just because of how our economy is created, because of our positioning in the world. Anyone who wants to create content and wants it to reach a huge amount of people and make money from it would always go for those big names, the Instagram, the TikTok, and Facebook.
All right, great.
Hopefully it changes.
No, you can just lend your thought. Lend your thought quickly.
Yes, so I'm just saying, hopefully it changes. But yes, if you want to be big, you have to go for the global names.
All right, interesting experiences so far from our guests on this edition of Take the Lead in the year 2026. I see from our live feed, of course, Teresa, Wema, Lisa have stated that the demand is not meeting the infrastructure. Wow, that's another point. Indeed, that's another point. Perhaps the demand for creating digital content is not meeting the infrastructure we have on the ground. That's what Teresa is saying. But let's transition. But before transitioning, let's take a trip to Nigeria and hear from our correspondent Yeche Nusasetu as she produces a report about youth and the digital space in Nigeria.
Every day, millions of African youth wake up and reach for their phones. A quick check of WhatsApp messages, a glance at Instagram, maybe a TikTok video, and suddenly, minutes turn into hours. But while millions are watching, learning, and engaging online, fewer are asking who is shaping the stories behind the screen. Sandra Guan, a social worker, believes social media has drifted far from its original purpose.
A lot of people are gravitating towards becoming digital creators just because they want to make money. So I feel the aim is no longer a platform where people just connect with other people.
For some, however, the digital space is both a tool and an opportunity. Chef Aisha Saleh says she uses social media to promote her business.
I use it mostly to promote and advertise my catering business. Then alongside, I use it also to while away time, like to catch up with friends on WhatsApp, also on Instagram.
Others see it primarily as an information hub. IT professional Ephraim Bako says digital platforms have become essential for research,
especially in the area of specialization. I use social media to stay informed on the happenings around the country and the world.
But beyond consumption, a growing movement of African creators is trying to reshape digital narratives. Ramatu Adaochekliye, founder of Shades of Us, says social media has evolved dramatically.
The biggest evolution is seeing how artificial intelligence has covered everything. You can make videos quicker, you can get prompts quicker, you can design content very quickly, especially if you're doing copy marketing and what have you.
Yet, while creation is increasing, experts say consumption still dominates. Communications coach Bumi Afolabi explains that more people are watching than creating, but the number of creators is steadily climbing as digital skills spread.
About 65% of active digital media users fall within the youth age bracket, 18 to 35. That's based on Open Journals 2025. It shows that there's more consumption than creation. However, you see that the margin is not so much, 65-51.
As the digital landscape expands, one thing is clear. Africa's youth are not just online. They are deciding whether to watch the digital world or help create it. For the WADR, Yechenu Sasitu in Abuja.
Well, thanks to Yechenu for that report.
Hey people, my name is Mello, Afrobeat singer from Guinea, and I love listening to the program Take the Lead on West Africa Democracy Radio.
Hello, my name is Fatou Bintou Asuke. I'm the CEO of African Start Shop, and I love listening to your program Take the Lead on West Africa Democracy Radio.
Welcome back to your youth platform. Take the lead here on West Africa Democracy Radio, where we discuss all things about young people in West Africa and beyond. We are streaming live on YouTube and Facebook at WADR English Service, worldwide at WADR.org. Well, let's come back to our guests. There is a transition point right now. We are focusing on skills. Being that we are consuming more than we are creating, what can be done in terms of equipping young people to have the skills, to have the requisite ideas or technocrats to ensuring we produce more than we consume? In that light, Basa, what would you say about that?
I think one way we can solve that firstly is to get Africans to be paid the same as people from the global north and other continents. Like she was saying, even for big time content creators in the region right now, you see a lot of them, either they have to depend on brands or they very small issues, they have to come online to beg us, the people that are their fans, to give them money, because TikTok doesn't pay Africans. No African country, I think just Morocco and South Africa also are on the monetization. So African, even if you have 5 million views, TikTok is not going to give you money. The same for YouTube. Less than 10 countries from the sub-region are on there, right? So we firstly have to create that value, like infrastructures, institutional value, that TikTok, Facebook, and all the other places pay African content creators. And then one thing that can be done is, right now, there's so much flow of information. We have to teach people how to access those information, because the same place that we are consuming information, we are consuming content, we can also get information on how to build those content. So we have a lot of content creators that will tell you how to hold your phone when you want to video, what kind of content are working, how to build niche. So we have to tell people also how to utilize those information and ensures that they also start creating. And then the final thing I'll say is also the value that we create on the different kinds of content. Sometimes it's not about you being like a content creator in that sense that you're making trend or you're talking on podcast. There are a lot of various content that are that you can access. For example, I'm a writer. I do copies for companies, I do copies for individuals, I help them build their social media, right? That's also another means of building something digitally. You can learn web design, you can learn to be a content manager. So for example, if WADR has a Facebook page and there's a conversation is going on, and you can come in there, make sure that people are commenting, share people's comments. So those are all things that you can benefit without necessarily being on holding the mic or dancing. Yeah, so just think about the different forms of content. Also learn that the places that you're consuming, there are also information on building your own content, and then institutional values. So
Great.
That would be mine.
Jenkins Rockdale Fenty says, especially in Sierra Leone, our TikTok account have not been monetized. So this is an indirect call from Jenkins so far. Thanks, Jenkins, for having your say on the show. Let's hear from you, Sergio. What are the skills we need? So far, what I'm taking from Masa, she's concerned about the monetization. equal pay. There should not be this disparity in terms of pay for content creators. What do you think about the skills we need to create more content, to create more apps, more digital tools than we consume?
I am at 100%. I agree with what Masa just say. We need to monetize, because if here in Africa we have a content creator and they are not paid enough elsewhere what they are getting, so that's there is an imbalance, and it does not how can I say?
Maybe have to promote our work or
exactly, and young African also, so they are not able. I won't say able, exactly motivated to create, because for creating content, at least you don't need big tools. All you need is like an idea, your phone, and being consistent. But if with all of that, after you create your content and that content is not monetized, so you have your knowledge, you put your skills in it and your effort, and also it's not monetized, so you can be demotivated so quickly.
Wow.
And also,
okay, we will get back to you, but we have our expert guests on right now. Been signaled that we have Caesar Morris from Liberia. He is an entrepreneur in the tech industry. Mr. Morris, welcome to the platform. How are you doing?
I'm good. It's good to be on the show. Thanks for the invite.
The conversation is shifting towards more consumption than creation of digital contents by African youth. Sir, what can you say about young people's involvement into the tech industry? Are they consuming more than creating?
Well, to a large extent, I would consider both. And looking at the Liberia context, I see that to a large extent, I would say it's both. And the reason I say so is simply because I realize on our side of the world, even though there are a lot of young people that are creating a lot of content, they are mostly demotivated. The ones you find doing it right now are the ones who are resilient and determined, hoping that one day their content will be monetized. But in terms of whether they are creating content, yes, they are creating content. Whether they are consuming a lot of content, yes, I think on my side of the world right now, the young people are consuming way more than they are creating. But I mean, I would say to a lot, I mean, to balance this, I mean, from the statistics thing so far, we are creating content, but not as to the level that the young population are consuming content.
So how can we balance it to ensure that, if not even balancing, but to have more creators than consumers?
Frankly, the region is going more into creating content. I mean, if you see, and I would tie this specifically to the Liberia context. So in Liberia, to a large extent right now, Liberians, the young people are trying hard. They are motivated. Some of them are creating content, and I think that's the way to go, because once you are a content creator, a lot changes. I mean, your content could get monetized and those kinds of things. Our region for now, I think the last time I checked, the Liberia Zoom, for example, I'm not sure if it's fully monetized by every app in the region. However, some content creators are still motivated and creating content for the local population. Now, the way to go will be these people. I'm referring specifically to the owners of this app. Now, I see that for some reason, best known to them, they have their own style of operations and they regulate their apps in a certain ways. So they allow the monetization of content from certain regions, while it discourages they do not monetize content from certain regions. It will be my goal. It will be all of us joy to see that content creators from our region of the world being monetized directly by the app itself, where the more content you create, some kinds of monetary value comes back in return to you. I don't think that's the case for Liberia the last time I checked.
Well, now, quickly before we let you go, sir, how can governments, how can private sector actors, how can these tech companies ensure a balance that, there should be equal pay for equal work? There should also be a space for one to easily have access to learning how to create content and also how to create these digital tools or develop these apps.
So firstly, it boils down to the regulations, which is directly tied to the policymakers, government as a whole. Now, in our region, there's a lot of things still closed up yet from foreign companies. So it is easier for Facebook to operate in Ghana, Nigeria than it is in Liberia. And so the reason is because of the laws are not the same. In fact, in Liberia, we are yet to have a fully adapted Cybercrime Act yet. And so in other regions that has those, their content are being monetized. Ours hasn't fully been monetized. So government needs to come in with the right policies, creating that enabling environment. Okay. What I've seen so far on the internet, I've seen that there are a lot of trainings now, a lot of resources available empowering young people to create content. What's demotivating them is that everything they do, there's no monetary value that returns back to them. So some people, most of them are being demotivated. Only the ones with the passion and the resilience that keep creating content. So government needs to create the enabling environment. The private sector will step up to the plate in creating that opportunity by providing training resources, by providing opportunities for their content to be monetized.
Great. Thank you so much, Cesar Morris, for joining us. We really appreciate your contribution on the show today. Thanks so kindly.
Thank you so much. I am so grateful to be on your show. It's good. We listen to your radio all the time, and I want to especially appreciate the entire team at the West Africa Democratic Radio for keeping the station running. We really appreciate what you do. Thank you so much.
Right, it's a pleasure. Well, from our live feed, Facebook, Ligali Agali says, indeed, too much consumption and not creation. There's so much we offer here in Africa. Asata Mamiri Ngombulango says, you should have registered your account in Europe or US countries, maybe Nigeria, before they will monetize your account. These are interesting concerns coming from our online followers. But now, as we wind down, let's begin with you, Atino. So far, you've listened to our expert guest on the show. What do you take away from his presentation, and what can you say as we close up this program in terms of having young people creating more digital content than they consume?
Okay, I think I took where he said the government should be more involved. Definitely, our government should be our biggest advocacy. They should be our biggest advocates, because we need these apps need to be monetized in our region. We need the government to put the pressure on Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok. Our people are creating. They are giving you content. They are feeding your algorithm. Pay them. Don't just come in here, take our our eyes, take the consumption, take the numbers, and then you're not giving back to where this creation is coming from. So yes, we need the government to step in. Also, with things like our internet, we also need the infrastructure to be improved, for access to improve. Another thing is the devices we need to do content. We see people where if the video quality is not the best of the best, most people don't even take that content serious. No matter what that person is saying, you see people just scroll and pass. It has to be this clear iPhone quality, professional camera quality kind of videos. And these devices are actually quite expensive for the average African, for the average young person just starting out in life to actually afford. So the way I see it, we need the creative economy, the creatives of Africa to come together. You mentioned technocrats. I think it is going to be a wonderful thing if the technocrats of our region, of other regions in Africa, to come together and create our own social media apps. Let's create it. I read that the creative economy in Africa is worth $5 billion. That is a lot of money. We could put all of that into creating our own apps where we put in our content, and then it gives back to us. It pays us. Africa, I think the world is having an African wave right now. Our culture seems to be all the rage right now. People are interested in Africa. They want to hear from us. They want to see our stories. This is the time for us to bank in on it, bank in on this attention. If they won't pay us, we create our own platforms, and then we monopolize our stories, so that if they want to get it, they have to come to us. They have to pay us for it. If they won't give us equal opportunities as the rest of the world. So I think that is what we need to do.
Great.
Also, for creatives that have been able to get these skills, be it the script writing for the videos, videography, and all of that, we need more people willing to give back to the economy. I have seen all these courses on platforms like Udemy. They are quite expensive. They try to give scholarships, but the average African would not be able to afford some of these courses. So we have something like that at Shades of Us, capacity building on storytelling. We teach script development, and it's completely for free. So we need more people, like the more initiatives like that, so that people who are interested do not feel like there's nowhere for them to go to. Do not feel like they have to bank on the global way of things to do it. Africa can create. We can create our own ways. We can empower ourselves. We have it in us. We need to just pull together as a community. So that is all I have to say.
Thank you, Atinu, for expressing your opinions on the show today. We really appreciate you. We hope to have you another day on this platform. Thanks so kindly. All right, let's hear
Thank you very much.
Yes, you're welcome. Let's hear from you, Sadio. Where do you want to see Africa 5 to 10 years from now when it comes to creating content and consuming content as you take leave of us?
Okay, to finish this program, and in 5 to 10 years, I may be a bit optimistic, and that young African people, if they embrace their originality, and if they embrace their story, their knowledge, so they can be more creators than consumer. And what we also need is to share our society, our reality, and create safe space and safe place on social media platform. And in 5 to 10 years, maybe, as what Atino says, why not we could create our own African platform who shows our stories, who shows our how beautiful Africa is, and how rich is our continent is. And I think we can do that, because we have the knowledge, we have the spirit to do that.
Thank you, Sergio, for coming today. We really appreciate it. We look forward to having you here another time. Thanks so kindly for coming.
Thank you.
And finally to you, Masa. How are you living this?
I think I carry the same optimism that Sadio and Atinu have, that we need more Africans, not just as content creators, but as investors investing in the digital infrastructures. And also, one thing I'll say is that the internet, as we know it, is about to change, because nowadays we see a lot of AI slopes that are taking actual people and their stories. And we've seen, like, in the West, a lot of people are saying, oh, I'm going to leave the internet because it's no longer human, it's no longer addressing our problems. So now Africa has a very huge opportunity to bring our own stories, bring our own identities on the digital space, on our own platforms, because these platforms that we're currently using, they have no regard for us. That's why they don't pay us and they don't see us as useful to them. So once we have our own infrastructures, then we can build on that. And for any young person that's out there, to always know that the digital space is a place that you can both consume as well as create. You don't have to be a celebrity, a large influencer, but you can write your own stories. You can write for organizations, for your communities, and see that the digital transformation is done with you and not just for you. So that's it.
Thank you, Masa, for once again sharing the platform with us.
It's a pleasure. Thank you as well.
Well, listeners and viewers, this is where we close up on this edition of Take the Lead here on West Africa Democracy Radio 94.9 FM, Dakar, Senegal, and online at WADR.org. We are thankful to you for being with us today. Please join us next Friday for another live episode of this program, and that will be about World Radio Day out of the studio. Remember to take the lead in shaping the discourse for the betterment of young people in Africa. My name is Augustine Curley. Do have a blissful weekend.
Take the Lead is back in 2025 with a brand new format. Yes, your youth exchange space will now be broadcast live every Friday at 4:05 p.m. Universal Time. And that's not all. Dear internet users and WADR subscribers, you have the opportunity to experience the show live and direct on our online platforms on Facebook at WADR English Service and on YouTube at WADR. Take the Lead every Friday from 4:05 p.m. Universal Time and rebroadcast same day at 1 a.m. Universal Time. Also on every Tuesday, your youth program will be rebroadcast at 7:15 a.m. and 4:05 p.m. GMT. Take the lead and champion the discourse for the betterment of young people.
Let's go. This is your